Hello. All right, hello everyone. It's that time of the week. It's time for some more ERA. Today it's round 9 and we arrive at the Jeddah circuit in Saudi Arabia. And we just came off of a pretty exciting race last week at Austria, which had a sprint qualifying and two reserves that really were showing some great pace. Those two reserves were Shazad and Seb, who are now full-times in this league. And we're going to give you a quick update on the standing. So after that round with Chronic coming home in P3. He moved up to take the championship lead with 113 points, and literally Siggins right behind him with 109 points. Paco also got a good result, which moved him up to P3 in the standings, and Samuel Beach has 89 points. He's about 14 points behind the championship leader Chronic, and those are the main 4 championship contenders still, as they're all still in this battle with about 3 rounds to go. We have Jeddah, then we have Silverstone, and then we have Abu Dhabi just to end it all off. So it's definitely going to be exciting, and with Shazad and Seb now being full times, I'm sure they can make it even more exciting because they showed a lot of pace and some nice clean racing last week. So it looks like Samuel Beach is the first man out on track, and he's going to be the first person to set a lap here. And let's see what kind of banker time he can set, which is going to set the pace for the rest of the grid to beat. And he's going to want a good qualifying here because it's quite hard to overtake, especially if you're in a DRS train with about 5 other cars. So let's see what he can do. He's crossing the final corner, and he's about to come across the line to start his first hot lap, and we're actually going to ride on board here. So across the line he starts his lap coming into the turn 1 chicane. Let's see what he can do using plenty of the entry curb and then the inside curves for both of them, really using as much as he can to shorten the corner and get the best exit possible. Same here, almost cutting the corner there, but being as aggressive as he can into these corners to get the best lap time possible. Had to do a pretty big lift there coming out of one of those corners, and that's going to lose him a little bit of time. He's got the DRS wide open coming into this next long left-hander, which is very hard to get the traction right with as he gets nice and close to the wall there. And down this next straight, which turns into a nice and fast chicane there, actually turns in a bit too early, so had to stop turning in for a second. That's another mistake in his lap. And coming through this windy straight in the middle sector, as he ends off the middle sector, he obviously gets a purple sector 2 for the first person to set a sector 2 time. Once again turns in a little too early there and has to make a slight correction. And now on the DRS straight, coming into the final corner, let's see what he can do. And into the final corner, can he get a nice exit? Once again turns in a bit too early for these corners, so he's clearly got more downforce than he thinks. And across the line, what kind of time is it going to be? Is it going to be a 1:29.2? So definitely not the worst banker, but obviously I'm going off of TT times to actually find out what times are fast, and you're a lot faster in TT than you are in the actual race. So it looks like one of the Alpines is coming across the line. That was Cyborg. I think he was starting his lap. Shazad has actually invalidated his lap time, whereas T-FIFA looked like he was going to go for a lap there, but then just decided to pull into the pit lane, so I'm not sure what that's for. But he's coming into the pit lane right behind Shazad. It looks like Paco is actually on a lap. He sets a purple sector 2, and coming into this third sector with just 3 turns. Let's see what he can do coming down this DRS straight in that Ferrari, and into the final turn. Let's see if he can get a nice exit off of here. Uses plenty of the curb on the outside there, and really hugs all of the walls basically at this street circuit to gain as much time as possible. As a couple more people saying lap times. Paco comes across the line. He sets a 1:27.7, and you'd have to say that is a pretty decent banker time for your first lap of the session, and with the track barely evolving. Literally Siggins just set a lap right behind Paco, a 29.1, which is going to put him P2 right ahead of his championship rival Samuel Beach. Dyer Dom set a 1:30 flat, with Elian Bayan obviously messing up his lap at some point, because it looks like he's on a lap right now. He's actually on the medium compound of tires, and we can see everyone's tires there, as he actually gets way too up on the curb there of that long right-hander, and that has actually sent him spinning. So he's going to have to recover from that. I might have gotten rear wing damage from that, so I think he might come into the pit lane and put on new set of tyres, as he's obviously abandoning this lap. So let's try and find someone else who is on a lap. It looks like Coulter, who's on a lap, who scored his first podium of the season last week. So let's see what kind of result he can get after that, as he looks like he's very low on the ERS. So it looks like a hot lap uses plenty of the ERS across the line. What kind of time is it going to be? It looks like a 1:30.2. So not the fastest time against people like Paco and Diadom on the mediums with a 1:30 flat. That's 0.2 faster than Coulter. Looking up and down the grid, it looks like Electric Envy is on a lap now in the middle sector, and there's a few cars up ahead of him. Hopefully they don't get in the way, and maybe he can get some nice slipstream on the main DRS straight. We'll have to see, as coming through this windy straight in the middle sector and coming into the third sector now. It doesn't set a purple sector too, but let's see in these final 3 corners of the lap what he can pull out, as he's now got the DRS wide open, and he's going to be coming into the final turn now, as looks like a Williams up ahead. Maybe that Williams of T FIFA might give him a decent little slipstream, as I think he might have actually hit the wall there. I'm not sure, as we're riding an off-board cam, but it looks like he's turned off the ERS, and he's now coming into the pit lane. So yeah, he definitely must have messed up his lap there. I don't know if he invalidated or broke his wing, but he's coming into the pit lane now, and he's going to have to put on a new set of tyres and go for a lap later in the session. It looks like Chronic is actually, he was on a lap, but it looks like, as you can see on the mini-map, he actually invalidated, so he's not going to set a banker time in the session. Zanhino, who is, I don't know, I'm going to call him Zan, who is a new driver in this league. He's going to be driving for Ferrari. He sets a 1:28 flat. So it looks like it's a Ferrari front row lockout by 1.1 seconds too. So it looks like Ferrari have a very strong lineup at the end stage of the season, and they are in the constructors battle with Red Bull. So let's see if they can maybe claim that title. We'll have to see. So it looks like Samuel Beach is actually on a lap right now. He's coming into the first and second turn here. Doesn't use as much curb on the first turn as he probably would have liked to. A nice little exit off of that second turn into the third and fourth turns here, as looks like he manages to get that pretty nicely into turn 7. Yeah, you can see he's gone a little bit wide there on the exit of turn 7, but he's managed to actually keep it in the track. But on the exit of turn 9 there, he actually invalidated by going slightly too wide, and that is going to be the end of this lap. It actually looks like H has set a 28.3. That's a great lap from him, and it's going to put him P3 for now. We'll have to see how he builds on that time, but that's definitely a pretty good banker time with just about 9 minutes left to go in the session. And it doesn't look like anyone's actually on a lap right now, but it does look like Paco is on his out lap. He is in the first sector. Dire Dom, who's going to be setting his first lap on the softs, is on his out lap. It looks like Seb, the man who won his debut race last week, is on his lap now on the soft compound tyres and driving for McLaren with Samuel Beach, who might try to bring themselves back into that championship battle. We'll have to see as we come through these turns now, and into turn 7. Does he lift? He doesn't actually lift there. He just goes down to 6th gear and is able to take it flat out. So that was a great turn from him, and this is definitely looking like a fast lap time, as he sets a purple first sector, and that is a good sign from him, and getting nice and close to the wall. And someone just asked in the chat there, I think it was Culture, why isn't it full of quality? We always run short quality in this league. We only need 18 minutes to qualify, as we already start pretty late, and we don't want to end the race to end too late. So yeah, short quality like it is every week. And coming into the third sector, he sets another purple sector in the middle sector. It's looking like a great lap from Seb in his debut race as a full-time driver. Could he win 2 races in a row? We'll have to see, as he's only got one more corner to deal with, and let's see what he does as he gets nice and close to the inside wall there, and gets a pretty decent exit. He's going to get nice and close to the track limits, and across the line it's going to be a 127.6, which puts him on provisional pole position ahead of Paco's 127.7. But it looks like Paco is actually on a lap now, coming into turn 7, also taking that flat out just like Seb, and coming into these few turns here, as he sets a purple middle sector, he's almost 2/10 up on his time. And this is turn 10 now, as he's really getting a lot closer to Seb. He's getting a lot closer to the walls than Seb was, to get as much exit speed as possible. Took that really nicely. I think that was turn 13 if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure on the turn numbers, but he's getting nice and close to the walls here, really using the track limits as much as possible to carry as much speed and make the run to the line as short as possible. So he's in the third sector now. He's going to open up the DRS, and he's going to cross the final corner, and he is going to set his second lap time of the session, and we'll have to see if he can beat Seb's best time, which was his banker time, by the way. So let's see, as his teammate up ahead of him is actually starting a lap 2. So Paco across the line is going to be a 127.3, so 3/10 faster than Seb's time, and that is going to put him on provisional pole once again. But his teammate is now out on a lap. We'll have to see what kind of lap he can do as coming through these corners, these sequence of corners, as you can really see how fast the car is going through these corners. He's absolutely throwing it through them, as he's actually set a purple sector 1, and he's 3/10 up on his time. So if he can keep on improving like this, as it actually looks like he rode the barriers there. I'm not sure if he did, but he hasn't invalidated, so maybe not, as you can see there, using the track limits as much as he can. He had the tires just on the white line and just within the track limits. So coming into the third sector now, he sets another purple sector. He's 5/10 up on his time. If he can keep improving, but it actually looks like he's gone white there, but he's managed not to invalidate his lap time, so his lap time's still valid, so he must have had to do a big lift there to keep his lap on. So coming through the final corner, is that going to lose him a lot of time? We'll have to see, as coming onto the pit straight with the DRS wide open, it's going to be a 127.6. So yeah, I think he was trying to carry a bit too much speed into there, and I think he might have turned in a bit too early and had to correct himself, which definitely lost him a little bit of time. So he's still in P3 and just 2/100ths off of Seb, so still a great lap time, and just 3/10 off of the provisional pole time. And he's going to have enough time to set one more lap time in this session, so we'll have to see how that works out for him. Looks like Shazad hasn't actually set a lap time yet. So let's watch him go for his lap now, as he was really using the track limits there, even more than Zan there. So we'll have to see if he can go even faster. And this is his banker time. He's setting it very, very late in the session. He's actually set a purple sector too. So track evolution at its best right now. And 3 more minutes in the session, it'll be even better. So we'll have to see if the lap times improve even further. But Shazad has actually struggled to get a lap in, so this is going to be his first time of the session coming out of the final corner. What kind of time can he set relative to the others? It looks like it's going to be a 128.7, which is going to put him P6 right behind T FIFA, and H, who's actually having a really good session right now with that 28.3 in P4, and looking pretty decent in this qualifying session. Let's ride on board here with Samuel Beach, who looks like he's coming into the third sector here. It looks like he was about 1/10.5 up on his time, so not improving by much. It looks like he's struggling for pace in this qualifying session, as we're getting quite close to the end now. But it actually looks like Shazad has retired there on his in-lap, and it looks like that's on purpose, because his car is still moving on the track. As it looks like one of the McLarens just passed it. We just missed that, but I think he just retired on track there. I'm not sure. One of the Aston Martin's is coming through now, so we'll have to see where he is on the track, but it looks like his car has just disappeared as soon as we started riding aboard with Culture there, so we're not going to see, but his car was still moving when he retired, so I think he realised that there wasn't enough time left in the session and just decided to retire on track, which he shouldn't really be doing. You need to drive back to the pit lane and retire there so you don't get in the way of anyone else's lap. But it looks like all the top guys are currently on an out lap, including H. 2 minutes left in the session, and this is going to be his final lap, so let's see what he can do. And coming through those first 2 corners, looked like a little bit of a glitch on his wheel there. Looks like he's lagging out a little bit, but hopefully that doesn't affect his lap time too heavily there. It actually looked like he had to lift coming off that last turn. He actually invalidates coming through turn 7, I think it was. So he actually has enough time to go around the circuit and start one more flying lap. But it looks like Zan has actually spun on his out lap, and that might cost him quite a bit of time. Hopefully he hasn't damaged his wing, but I think he might have. So he might not be able to set one more lap time in this session. And Seb has invalidated his lap time. Has he got enough time to get around to the start-finish straight and start one more lap time? I'll have to see, but hopefully Zan doesn't have any wing damage, because that will be his session over. Chronic still hasn't set a lap time yet, as he's now coming through the first 2 turns and beginning his first lap of the session, as it looks like he might have invalidated on all of his other laps, as really cutting the corner there, getting as much speed into the corner as possible, going through turn 7 and now 8 and 9, as he actually went down to 5th gear for turn 8 there. So a lot of drivers were using 6, but he decided to use 5th there, and coming into turn 10, if I'm not mistaken. So it looks like Coulter has actually retired from the session. I think that was in the pit lane, so not through a crash on his quality lap. And looks like Chronic is going quite fast on his lap. It's only the first lap of the session, so he doesn't have a delta to improve on, as H actually retires from the session, but you can see his car is still moving. So I think that's another man who's retired on track. Chronic sets a purple sector 2 though, so that's interesting to see. Let's see what he can do with that purple middle sector, and can he challenge for 4? It looks like Zan has actually retired from the session, and looks like Paco is actually stopped on track there, so it looks like he's invalidated his lap time. Moving back to Chronic now, coming out of the final turn, he's going to get a little bit of slipstream off the AlphaTauri ahead of him, and coming across the line is going to be a 127.7, which puts him P4, just slipping ahead of H there, and 1/10 off of Zan. And it looks like Seb is actually also on a lap, so it looks like he's going to be the last person to set lap time in the session. Let's see what he can do, as he sets a purple sector 2. He's 2/10 up on his time. He needs to improve by a little bit more here in the third sector, really using as much curb as possible there, and using up as much width of the track. So this could be a great lap time from Seb. We'll have to see, as he's rounding out the final corner, and can he get a good exit? Can he open the DRS quick enough and get as much straight line speed as possible? The DRS is now wide open and across the line. What kind of time is it going to be? It's going to be a 127.3, which puts him 5/100th off of Paco, and it puts him on the front row for this race. But that was such a close qualifying between Seb and Paco. The difference was 5/100ths. And as you saw there, that was a pretty good lap from Seb at the end there, but it looks like Paco just edging him out by 5/100. So that was a great close qualifying session. Zan, who sadly spun on his out lap and then crashed on his qualifying lap, still comes home P3 with a 27.6. Chronic comes home in P4 with a 27.7. Elian actually sets a lap time at the death of the session there. I didn't even notice. He moves up to P5, and looks like he was just 3/1000ths off of Chronic's time, and that shows that he has very similar pace to one of the championship contenders. We'll have to see what he can do at that pace in the race. And then there's a bit of a gap to T FIFA with a 28.3 in P6, just about beating H by 12/1000ths of a second. Electric MB 3 tenths behind with a 28.6 in P8. Shazad couldn't get a good enough lap in, and he's going to be starting P9. Samuel Beach also now getting the best lap in, and neither did literally Sigan. They're going to be starting P10 and P11. It looks like they have very similar pace, but it doesn't seem to be front-running pace anymore. So will they be knocked out of championship contention up against Paco and Chronic? We'll have to see. They're going to need a good race this race if they want to stay in the championship, because Chronic and Paco have been scoring a lot of points in the recent rounds. Ever since France, I think it was, they've been scoring really strong points, and they started to catch up to Literally Siggins, and now they've both pulled themselves into the championship battle. But Literally Siggins is still in this. He's starting from P11. He's going to have the choice of free tire, so we'll have to see if he starts on the softs or mediums. I myself would go with the soft compound tire, because it's very likely that there will be a safety car at this track, and that means if you're on the softs, you'll be able to box under the safety car to actually get a free pit stop, essentially, and that strategy could really help you out. Alright, so we're just having a quick look up and down the grid here, and we're going to also check the tires here, what everyone's gone with. It looks like Literally Siggins is the only person that's gone with medium tires. Coulter, Dyer, Dom, Cyborg and Fugax all could have gone with the medium tires, but they've decided to go softs because of that chance of a safety car. So we'll have to see how that works out for them, but if there ends up not being a safety, an early safety car, Literally Siggins' strategy could work out perfectly, but we'll have to see how that works out. It looks like Cyborg actually getting disqualified from the formation lap there. So let's have a quick look down the grid once again. We have Paco and Seb starting on the front row of the grid. On the second row we have Zan, so a 1-3 for Ferrari in the qualifying. Let's see if they can turn it into a good result in the race. And it looks like Paco's teammate Zan beating his championship rival Chronic, with Elian, who is just 3 1,000s behind Chronic in P5. T-FIFA in P6. He's going to be starting alongside H, whose teammate is right behind him in P8, starting alongside Shazad, who showed great pace in Austria. Can he do it again starting from P9 this race? We'll have to see. Samuel Beach in P10, and he's going to be starting alongside his championship rival Literally Siggins, who's going to be starting on the medium, so don't expect the best of starts from him, because he's definitely going to struggle to get traction off of those mediums. Coulter is in P12 with Dyer Dom right behind him in P13, Cyborg in P14, and Fugax rounding out the grid in P15 for Aston Martin. And let's see if Aston Martin can score some big points here, because obviously Coulter showed some great pace in Austria, scoring his first podium. He was able to keep it super consistent and not get any podiums, and Fugax was looking good for so long, but had a collision with another driver that sadly ended up with him DNFing. At least that's what I think it was, but it looks like Fugax is now lining up on the grid, and we're ready to get under racing way. As let's try and get a better camera angle of Paco here, and let's go. So we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. They're gone, and we're away. What kind of start can the top guys get? We'll have to see. As it looks like one of the AlphaTauris pulling out there, one of the Ferraris of Zan pulling out as well. It looks like Seb trying to go down the inside of Paco into turn 1, but it looks like Zan is going to take opportunity of Seb being put offline. He's going to try and move up into P2. Can he make this move work? He's going to be around the outside into turn 3, but it looks like Seb's gotten the better of him, and he's going to maintain P2 for now. It looks like a yellow flag in the first sector. It looks like Literally Siggins has retired from the session on the medium compound tires, which has caused a virtual safety car, and Literally Siggins, a championship contender, is now out of the race, and T-FIFA, another driver, not having the best of starts. He falls all the way down to P14, and not the best of starts for T-FIFA or Literally Siggins, with just 2 rounds to go after this. literally Siggins is not looking too good in this championship after DNFing in this race. He's going to need some mega results in the last 2 rounds if he wants to keep the championship dream alive. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Could have been with FIFA, who also got a bad start. Looks like he crashed out in the first sector, but obviously we weren't riding with literally Siggins. We were watching the battle for the lead of the race, so I'm not too sure what happened to him. So right now Paco maintains P1. Looks like the top 5 are all the same, but it looks like H and Electric Envy moving up a few positions, 1 position each, with Shazad and Coulter also moving up. Samuel Beach not being able to take advantage of literally Siggins DNFing. So we're meant to be riding on board with Paco there, but for some reason we're riding with FIFA. It looks like Zan is actually going for the move on Seb down into turn 1, and he cannot make that move stick, but it looks like he's going to be under a bit of pressure from Chronic here, but Chronic can't get the best exit and overtake Zan out of turn 2, so he's going to hold off for now and maintain his P4 position. It looks like Paco is already starting to pull away from Seb, so it looks like a pretty good restart from Paco there, but Seb in P2, DRS still hasn't been enabled, so he's going to be able to push nice and hard to try and catch up to Paco ahead of him. And let's see if he's successful in doing that, as it looks like a bit of battling going on in the midfield here. Coulter overtaking Shazad for PA in this race. Is Shazad going to fight back? It doesn't look like he'll have the opportunity to do so, as I'm just looking at a few of the gaps here. Zan getting quite close to the back of Seb there, just 2.5 tenths behind, almost pushing him through the corners there, as it looks like Zan actually cut that corner a little bit there. He might get a warning for that, 3 of those, and you will get a 3-second time penalty. It looks like Seb is struggling to catch Paco without the power of the DRS. It looks like Zan is going to have a go down into the final turn. He's going to go down the inside of Seb once again. What kind of exit can he get off to the final turn? And it looks like it's going to be a drag race up to turn 1. And Zan has the shortest line to turn 1 with the inside line. And it looks like he's going to overtake him before the braking zone. So right now, it's a Ferrari 1-2, just like last week with Paco and Shazad. And it looks like Ferrari has been getting some strong results recently. But can they keep this up? We'll have to see. Zan in P2 with Seb right behind him in P3. It looks like the 2 teammates of H and Electric Envy being nice and close to each other, but H no longer has the DRS on the cards ahead of him, and the DRS has been enabled this lap, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Is Electric Envy going to be going for a move, as it looks like there's actually a DRS straight here? Does Electric Envy go for a move? Yes, he does. He goes down the inside into turn 10, and it looks like H is going to let him through. He does not want to battle with his teammate too heavily, because he doesn't want to cost them too much time in the race, but it actually looks like they lost 9 tenths from switching positions there, so don't know if that was the best play there from the 2 AlphaTauris, as we get a nice little helicopter shot here of the 2 AlphaTauris going through the middle sector and coming into the 3rd sector now. And as you can see, using it looks like H actually used the track limits a little more there on the, I think, what is the 2nd last turn of the Jeddah Street circuit. And as you can see, it looks like Electric Envy is actually having to defend a little bit from H. H has put him offline. He's trying to go around the outside here, and it looks like H is going to make the move stick. And who's going to get the DRS on the straight? It looks like neither of them have got the DRS, so this is really going to put them under pressure from Coulter now, both of the AlphaTauris. And it looks like Coulter is going to go down the inside of Electric Envy. They make a little bit of contact there at turn 2, but they get away cleanly. Hopefully Electric Envy doesn't have any wing damage, as there's still some wheel banging. They're still side by side into turn 3, but it looks like Coulter has gotten P7 in this race, so he's almost lost DRS to H ahead of him. So he's going to need to push a little harder to try and catch up to that DRS. We're going to move back to the top 5 now, as DRS is now being labelled. It looks like Zan has actually been able to catch Paco, so it looks like Zan, a new driver in this league driving for Ferrari, has actually got some great pace at this stage of the race at least. So he's just 8 tenths behind Paco, and he's got 3 more drivers behind him. One of them being a championship contender, and 2 of them won their debut race in ERA. So it's a very strong top 5 here. So every driver is going to be having to push very hard to try and win this race, essentially. As it looks like Chronic is actually getting nice and close to the back of Seb here. He has actually got 80% ERS, so he's been saving it up. Is he going to be looking for a move anytime soon? It's now lap 4. He does not use any ERS off of the exit there, so he's still not looking for a move just yet. Looks like Zan is quite close to the back of Paco, but it looks like Zan has actually decided to turn off the DRS as he goes a little bit deep into turn 1. It looks like Seb is going to take advantage of this. He's going to make the move for P2 in this race, but it looks like they make contact on the exit of turn 2, and it looks like Seb has hit Zan into the wall, and Zan is going to tumble down the order with wing damage and a spin. He's going to lose a lot of time and positions in this race, and that is a shame to see as Seb gets a 3-second time penalty, and we just got Zan's perspective there the last second. But it looks like Seb just squeezed him out a little too much and hit him into the wall there. So we'll have to see if that's a post-race penalty. But he has a race penalty right now. He has 3 seconds to his name after extending the track limits. He's almost lost DRS to Paco ahead of him. That promotes Chronic and Elian up 1 position as it looks like Dire Dom and Cyborg battling it out. But it looks like Dire Dom has sadly disconnected from the session. So it looks like Cyborg is going to be taking that position, and he's right behind Zan. Can he negotiate himself ahead of Zan here? Since Zan has some wing damage, is he going to be looking for a move down the inside? We'll have to see. He has to think about it, but he breaks a little early because he does not really want to make any dodgy moves. So he's just going to stick behind Zan for now. He has the DRS. But it actually looks like Coulter has retired from the session there. It looks like he's turned in a little too early at the final turn, and he's gone from P6 to DNFing in this race. So, yeah, it looks like Coulter is now out of the session, just turned in a bit too early there. As it looks like Shazad actually cut the pit lane there a bit, so thankfully he doesn't have a penalty. But he's coming into the pit lane now. What's he going for? It looks like he's going for the hard compound of tires, and it looks like he's actually got wing damage as well, so he's going to have to come into the pit lane and fix his wing, which is what he's doing right now. He's going on to the hard compound tires, which should last him to the end of the race. Zan, this has been a blessing for Zan because he is now back in this race on the medium compound tires and with a fresh new wing. T-Viva manages to get out ahead of him, and he's on fresh medium tires, which are going to last him to the end of the race. Are the top 8 all going to box for medium tires? We'll have to see. But it looks like H wasn't the first to respond. I think he boxed the lap before. He might have gotten wing damage, but he's now in a good position with fresh mediums, and everyone else ahead of him still has to box under the safety car. So we'll have to see how that works out. And we're going to watch Paco as he comes through the middle sector and then the third sector, and let's see if he boxes for the medium compound tires. I think that would be the right strategy call at this stage of the race. Shazad has gone for the hard compound tires, so his tires are going to be a lot stronger at the end of the race, but will it be worth it altogether, because the mediums are a lot faster than the hard tires, especially at a track like Jeddah with so many high speed corners. So let's see now. Paco coming onto the main straight. Is he going to pull left into the pit lane? And it looks like the answer is yes. So Paco comes into the pit lane. I think almost everyone is going to follow him in. So Paco in the pit lane. Seb, Chronic, Elian, Electric MV pulls into the pit lane there. Does Cyborg come into the pit lane for fresh mediums? We'll have to see as he's now on the main straight. And it looks like Cyborg is actually deciding to stay out. So Cyborg is going to stay out, and he's going to take the lead of the race on old soft compound tires. Or is he? It looks like Seb has actually jumped Paco in the pit lane. Has Paco gotten damage and had to fix his wing? It looks like he might have, because he's all the way down in P6 and he's chosen the hard compound of tires. So I wasn't watching Paco, but he might have had to fix his wing there. Because he's tumbled all the way down to P6, or maybe he wasn't allowed to be released from the pit lane because there was traffic coming up behind him, but he's now down in P6 and on the harder compound of tires, so that might not work out the best for him at all, and it's going to be a hard recovery for him. Seb in P1, but sadly has that 3-second time penalty. Chronic in a decent position. He's got a car between himself and Seb, but at least he doesn't have any penalties, and that's going to be a big advantage for him. Dire Dom was disconnected from the session, and that will count as a DNF, so we won't be scoring any points. So technically, Elian in P5, Elian in P4, Paco in P5, Fugax in P6, but he hasn't actually boxed for medium compound tires, so he's moved up quite a few positions, but he's going to have to take a pit stop away from the safety car conditions, which is going to lose him about 20 seconds or so. So yeah, it looks like two drivers have stayed out. Cyborg and Fugax, maybe not the best choice. Electric Envy in P7 with his teammate right behind him in P8. Shazad in P9 on the hard compound tires, so he's on the same strategy as Paco, but I definitely think mediums can make it to the end of the race, but we'll have to see if Paco and Shazad are stronger at the end. T-FIFA in P10, Zan sadly all the way down in P11 and a 3-second time penalty, and Samuel Beach runs out the grid. So it looks like 4 of the fastest drivers, 5 of the fastest, well, everyone here is fast actually, because I've just looked at the bottom 6 and they're all absolutely rapid, and the top 7 as well, so everyone in this league is pretty fast. But it looks like Seb is going to be leading us away for the safety car restart. Let's see when he goes, and he tries to get the best start possible on Cyborg behind him, and it looks like he gets a pretty decent start on Cyborg, and Chronic right behind him wiggling his wheel there a little bit, and will he be looking for a move into turn 1? So it looks like Cyborg actually brakes a little early there, so maybe showing that he has less grip. It looks like a lot of changes in the midfield there. H in P8, Shazad in P9. Fugax has actually lost a lot of positions. It looks like he's actually broken his front wing there, and he's actually hit into T-FIFA, who's now fully lost his front wing because of Fugax with the wing damage. Just had so much understeer and wasn't able to get out of the way of T-FIFA, but it looks like Elian and Cyborg have actually made contact with each other, and Elian is now out of the race, but Cyborg completely losing his front wing. So yeah, the safety car restart, we have another DNF, and 3 people losing their front wings, but this allows Paco to move all the way up to P3 in this race with Chronic in P2, but it looks like Seb has almost pulled out a 3-second gap on Chronic behind him. So let's see if Seb can, it's 2.6 right now, can he extend it to 3 seconds? We'll have to see, but it looks like he's doing pretty well right now at least. But with Paco on the hard compound tires, he's going to have a hard time trying to get past Chronic, and the DRS hasn't been enabled yet either, so he won't be able to make the overtake as easily. And it looks like Electric Envy on the teetering edge of the DRS of Paco in 3rd place, last spot on the podium, as it looks like Zan has actually broken his wing too, as we watch him come into the pit lane. Otherwise I don't know why else he would come into the pit lane. So as you can see, his pit crew getting ready, and it looks like they have a new front wing for him. So it looks like he's broken his wing once again, which is a shame to see. And he looks like he was doing so well in his first race in ERA. Could have gotten a podium in his first race, but is sadly going to fall all the way down to P10 in this race. And so is T-FIFA and Cyborg, who all have to fix their wings. So 3 people boxing on lap 8, and they all lose a lot of time and position. So they're all going to be hoping for a safety car. It looks like Fugax has wing damage on his right and possibly left end plate too, but he's continuing on. He's thinking that he wants to go on to the mediums probably around lap 10, so he's just gonna stick it out with that broken front wing until he can get to his preferred pit lap when the pit window actually opens for him. So Paco in P3 now, really struggling to maintain the DRS of Chronic ahead of him, but it does not look like he has DRS for this lap, so he's going to have the DRS on the very next lap. It looks like Seb has actually pulled out a 3-second gap on Chronic behind him, so Seb is essentially in the lead of this Grand Prix, and could he win his 2nd race in a row as the DRS is now enabled. Chronic in P2, Paco in P3. Paco isn't going to have the DRS for this straight, but he will have it for the run down to turn 10, and he's going to have to use that to his advantage, as Shazad gets another 3-second time penalty. It looks like Electric Envy has just about lost the DRS to Paco ahead of him, and he's going to be under quite a bit of pressure from his teammate H behind. So we'll have to see. The 2 teammates have been battling it out for almost this entire race. and it looks like they're going to continue to battle it out with H within the DRS of Electric Envy ahead of him. Shaza down in P6, but he's got 9 seconds of time penalties, and we saw he struggled with the track limits last weekend as well, getting 12 seconds of time penalties. He's struggling again, and he's all the way down in P6 and on the higher compound tyres, so definitely not in the best position in this race. But it looks like we're just looking at the gaps here, and it does not look like, it looks like the only two somewhat DRS drains are the ones between Chronic and Paco and Electric Envy and his teammate H. So those are the only two current battles on track, so we'll have to see how both of those plays out, as it looks like Paco, with the power of the DRS, even on the hard compound tyres, is getting quite close to the back of Chronic out of him. Could he be looking for a move down into turn 1? He's got the DRS wide open, and let's see, with the straight line speed, it does not look like he's going to be making a move down to turn 1. So you can see Chronic clearly has better pace with those medium compound tyres, but Paco is able to gain all of his time with the power of the DRS, and he's probably pushing nice and hard with those hard compound tyres. He does not have to worry about tyre wear at all, because they will easily make it to the end of the Grand Prix. It looks like there's a yellow flag in the first sector. It looks like Fugax has actually spun there, and has he retired from the session? Looks like he's struggling to get back underway here, as he looks like he stopped moving altogether. No, he's back, and he's going to be getting himself back out on track, and hopefully come into the pit lane for a new front wing and a new set of medium compound tyres. You can see his front wing is definitely slightly damaged, as he is really struggling with the understeer coming into turn 7. Looked like he actually took that pretty decently, but he's taking these corners a lot slower than he would probably like to. Looks like Shazad has actually DNF'd from the race there. I don't know what's happened to him. I think he's on the left side of the track. Yeah, I think I know exactly what happened. I think he might have gotten a bit too up on the curb. No, maybe not. He's a lot further along in the track than I thought. No, he's all the way in the last sector. So let's see where he is on track. And it looks like he's on the left side, so maybe he's made contact with another driver's controller's disconnected or something. But that has brought out the safety car, which has completely ruined Seb's race, because that 3-second time penalty means it's going to demote him all the way down to P4. And yeah, that's really not helped him out at all. But it has helped out Zan, T-FIFA and Cyborg, who are all going to be able to catch up to the rest of the grid. And they will all have fresh tyres, and yeah, that's really going to help out Zan. Can he make a comeback in this race? Looks like he's actually come into the pit lane. Has he broken his wing again? We'll have to see. Or is he just coming in for fresh medium tyres? And looks like he's just thought he's at the back of the grid anyways, so he may as well come in for some fresh tyres. But it looks like he's actually going to lose track position to T-FIFA because of that. And looks like Paco's hard compound strategy is not working out as well as he would have liked, because now all the medium tyre runners get to save on wear under these safety car conditions, and basically puts Paco in a worse position, because Chronic and Seb don't have to worry as much about the tyre wear, whereas Paco now has the harder compound of tyres and isn't going to have that tyre wear advantage as much at the end of the race. So yeah, I don't know if Paco's in the best position. He's obviously in P3 with a net P2, because Seb has that 3-second time penalty, so he's definitely in a decent position. Hopefully his hard tyres come back to are faster than the mediums towards the end of the race, but we'll have to see. Electric Envy up in P4 is a pretty decent race for him, after sadly DNFing in his first race. But in his second race, he's almost on the podium, and as you can see, he's really aggressively heating up the tyres in the last sector there, as it looked like his car was almost about to spin. But he's trying to get the heat into the tyres so that he can make sure he has warm tyres for the safety car restart and get the best traction possible. So in P4, and his teammate right behind him in P5, but his teammate has a 3-second time penalty, which is going to demote him down a few positions, sadly. Samuel in P6, so that's pretty decent, and a net P5, and possibly a P4 if he can stay within 3 seconds of Seb. And he's got T-FIFA right behind him though, and T-FIFA has a lot fresher medium compound tyres. He's got 3 lap fresher medium compound tyres to be exact, so he's going to be nice and fast behind Samuel. And Daridam, who's DNF from the session. Zan is in P8, but sadly has that 3-second time penalty, which is going to hurt his final finishing position. Fugax is in P10. He's got his new front wing and new tyres, and Cyborg rounding out the grid with just 11 drivers left. 4 drivers sadly DNFing in this race, and probably the biggest one being Litchi Siggins, and that is almost going to put him completely out of contention for the championship battle. Sadly to say, I guess you could say. But Cyborg is now catching up to the rest of the grid, and the safety car will be coming in this lap, and Seb will be leading us away for the safety car restart. And let's see if he can get a safety car restart as good as the last one, because I'm not sure what happened, but he just managed to pull out a 4-second gap on Chronic out of what seemed like nowhere. So he's clearly got good pace in the lead of the race and on those medium compound tyres, but they're a little more worn than they were at the first safety car when he just put on the new mediums. And let's see if he struggles with that and traction off of the safety car restart. As you can see, race control telling us that the safety car is coming in this lap, and we're going to ride on board with Seb so we can get the best view of what kind of restart he can get. And as you can see, slowing down nice and early, letting the safety car get back to the pit lane and keeping his tyres nice and warm in the meantime. So he's coming up to the final turn now. How early is he going to make this safety car restart, or how late? We'll have to see as he comes out the final turn. He doesn't go there, so he definitely could have caught them off guard there, but he's still warming up his tyres to really confuse them. And it looks like Chronic isn't going to get the best restart. It looks like H has jumped up into P4 and is now going side by side with Paco down into turn 1. Can he make the move stick? He's got the inside line. Paco with the hard compound tyres, and it looks like H might be moving himself up into P3, but it looks like Paco is now under pressure from his teammate Electric Envy, and looks like Electric Envy has to go a bit wide there as he wasn't left enough space by Paco. And coming through these turns, it looks like Seb gets another 3-second time penalty, and that's going to hurt him his final race position even more than the 3-second time penalty. H is now up into P3 after an amazing restart. Chronic getting really close to the back of Seb now. Seb not being able to get as good a restart as he did on the first safety car. It looks like Zan is trying to make up a few positions. He moves up into P7 as he overtakes Samuel Beach, and Samuel Beach is right behind him though. Can he be making a move anytime soon? We'll have to see. I think he's just going to stick in the slipstream for now, as it's a bit dangerous to make a move in the middle sector unless it's on the DRS straight, but DRS is not going to be enabled until about lap 16, so the drivers are going to have to wait a while, as it looks like the Williams of T-FIFA going a bit wide there through that last turn. But yeah, that was a great restart. It looks like Chronic's getting really close to the back of Seb there, and looks like he tries to put Seb offline and try go for the switchback, but Seb taking a nice and tight inside line. But it looks like Chronic has got the speed on the straight, using plenty of the ERS to try and get ahead of Seb. And let's see, they go side by side into turn 1, and Seb leaving Chronic plenty of space on the inside and outside there, and Chronic leaving Seb plenty of space on the inside of turn 2. But Chronic has now got it into the lead of the Grand Prix, and Seb is down into P2, and he's got H right behind him, who's got Paco, Electric Envy, T-FIFA, Zan, Samuel Beach, and then Fugax all behind them. So let's see here, does anyone make a move into turn 10? No, it does not look like it, but it looked like both of the Ferraris had a little look up the inside, but they weren't fully alongside, as it looks like Zan has a bit of overspeed on T-FIFA there. As it actually looks like he puts T-FIFA offline there, and will he be making a move into the final sector? No, it does not look like he will, as he's just staying in the slipstream there. But it looks like he's trying to put his nose down the inside, trying to put T FIFA offline there. It looks like he's done that successfully. T FIFA going wide once again, and Zan, who's put T FIFA off a line 2 times in a row, is actually wheels banging between Zan and T FIFA. It looks like he almost hit T FIFA into the wall there. Hopefully T FIFA doesn't have any wing damage, as it looks like he might from that view. We'll have to see if we can get a better view of the front of his car. He doesn't pull into the pit lane, and I don't think he has wing damage, but T FIFA now has the straight line speed over Zan, and he's going to be making a comeback move into turn 1, and he's going to make the move stick on Zan coming into turn 1. He now moves up into P6. Electric Envy, so it looks like Paco and H are actually going side by side. It looks like they both go wide, so both of them going a little bit deep into that turn. And H now maintains P3, but he's got Paco on fresher, sadly harder compound of tires. Is he going to be making a move into turn 10 with the power of the DRS? It looks like he's going to try to go around the outside, but he makes the move stick before the braking zone, so he is now back up into P3. It looks like Seb has actually lost the DRS to Chronic. He's back in it now. He's on the teetering edge. He's going to have to keep pushing nice and hard on this lap if he wants to stay in the DRS of Chronic ahead of him and have any chance of winning this race with 6 seconds of time penalties. That's once again really going to hurt him, as he's going to fall all the way down to about P8 in this race with that many penalties. So not in the best position right now, as he actually sets a purple sector 2, so he's flying at this stage of the Grand Prix, as it looks like the DRS train from P3 all the way to P8 could go from P1 to P8 if Paco can catch up to Seb ahead of him. As Electric Envy getting quite close to the back of his teammate, and Zan now all the way up into P6. Going to be looking for a move anytime soon. We'll have to see, as Paco does not have the DRS on Seb ahead of him. So could H be looking for a move? He pulls out slipstream for a second, but then pulls back into it. Isn't going to be making any moves into turn 1, and he's going to maintain P4 from now. But under quite a bit of pressure from his teammate, just 2 tenths behind, almost pushing him through the corners, and following nice and closely. And so is Zan with Electric Envy. You can see really close. It looks like H gets another 3-second time penalty, and these are the penalties right now. It looks like H actually has 6 seconds of time penalties, which is really going to hurt him in this race. But he's in P4, and so Zan actually has 6 seconds of time penalties as well. So it looks like Electric Envy, Paco and Chronic all in the best position in this race, and are probably the most likely podium finishers, are going to be the most likely podium finishers in this race. So we'll have to see how that plays out, as it looks like Zan getting nice and close to the back of Electric Envy. Is he going to be looking for a move down the inside and into the third sector? It does not look like it. Looks like Electric Envy is going to be using a little bit of the ERS to maintain his position. It looks like H has actually lost the DRS to Paco ahead of him, and as you see, he doesn't have the DRS, and now he's under pressure from his teammate Electric Envy. So H is going to have the inside line for this final turn, but it looks like he broke a little early there to try and let his teammate through, and it looks like H has been playing the team game for quite a bit of this race, or maybe he's using the strategy that Leclerc used in the real life Grand Prix. He uses the ERS, and he's going to go side by side with Zan there, and it looks like Electric Envy trying to fight back on H and Zan. It looks like Electric Envy gets a little bit boxed in by the 2 drivers. It looks like Zan actually pushes H almost into the wall there. So Zan really aggressive in this race, and Electric Envy is now right behind him in P5. Once again, just 1/10 behind him. The gap is so small, as it looks like Zan gets a little bit too much on the curb there on the exit, and Electric Envy literally pushing him through the corners. He tries to go around the outside at turn 10. Can he make the move stick, as he gets quite close to the wall here, and he's not going to be able to make that move stick. The gap is almost less than 1/10 now between Zan and Electric Envy coming into this these 2 corners now. Zan using plenty of the track limits, Electric Envy getting a little bit of wheel spin. All of these drivers are less than 1/10 between each other. It looks like Electric Envy has actually put Zan somewhat offline, and he's going to make the move into the third sector now, and he is now up into P4 in this race. But these guys are losing a lot of time to the top 3, and Seb could be safe for a podium if they keep battling like this. T FIFA gets another 3-second time penalty, and it looks like Zan is actually under a bit of, or Electric Envy under a bit of pressure from Zan. They go side by side into the final corner. Who gets the DRS on the straight? It looks like Zan is going to get the DRS, so he's going to be able to make the move on Electric Envy. H is also making the move on Electric Envy, but H is once again going to go side by side with Zan, who tries to push him as much to the inside. It looks like H just turned in like Zano wasn't there. I'm not sure what's happened. I don't know if Zan has wing damage now, but it looks like Samuel Beach has moved up into P5 right behind Electric Envy and P4. Have these two drivers got wing damage? I do not know. It looks like H might have wing damage. A little bit of understeer through there. Does Zan have wing damage coming through these turns? It looks like he had to use fourth gear there, so I don't know if that's the wear on his tires or if it's understeer, but you can see he's losing quite a bit of touch to the drivers ahead, and I think Zan definitely has some wing damage. Let's see the grip difference between these two drivers, and it looks like H definitely has a lot more grip than Zan, so it looks like Zan has damaged his wing once again through no fault of his own. It looks like H tried to cut off Zan a little bit too early at turn 2 and ended up giving Zan wing damage, and H just losing lots and lots of time. So that's definitely a shame to see. Is Zan going to be coming back into the third sector? I don't think he is with the wing damage. A bit of a risky move. As you can see, he can't even take that corner flat out. At least he'll have the DRS coming into the pit lane for a new front wing. There's just 6 laps left in this race, as we're getting quite close to the end now, as Seb now has the DRS on Chronic ahead of him. Is he going to be looking for a move? We'll have to see. It does not look like he's looking for a move into turn 1 or turn 2, so he's going to stay behind Chronic for now. It looks like H actually gets a 3-second time penalty. Has Zan actually decided to stay out? Yes, he has, and as you can see, he's completely lost his front left end plate, so he's completely broken his front wing, and is going to have no pace in this race. So he's gone from having a great start to this, or a great qualifying, to a bad start to his race, to a great middle of his race, to a bad end to his race. But there could be one more safety car, although I highly doubt it. In the last 5 laps of the Grand Prix, you can see he has absolutely chronic understeer, and that is really hurting his race. It looks like Samuel Beach is going to try to go around the outside of Electric Envy into turn 10. It looks like he's going to make the move stick before the braking zone. Samuel Beach now up into P4 and a net P5, so trying to do himself as much as he can for the championship battle. But it looks like Chronic and Paco might be battling it out for the title of the first drivers champion. But it looks like Chronic has had the upper hand in the last few races, even though Paco drove an amazing race last race. At the end of the race with a late race safety car, Chronic was able to overtake Paco and get more points. And it looks like someone's lost their front wing there. I think that might be Electric Envy who's lost his front wing. We'll have to see. It looks like H is going to be looking for the overtake on Electric Envy here down in the last turn. Let's see if he can make it. So I'm losing my voice here, but it looks like Electric Envy has no grip, so he's lost his front wing somehow. I'm not too sure how, but he's going to come into the pit lane. But Zan is actually going to stay out himself, so Electric Envy sadly in his second race, once again not having the best of races, and looks like a lot of drivers struggling with their wing damage, especially H, Zan and Electric Envy. But we'll definitely have to look at the reports at the end of the race, and I'll be able to keep you updated on the next week, and I'll tell you all the penalties that were applied. Last race there were no penalties, post-race penalties at least, so all the positions were the same, but I think there might be a few reports this race, as there's been some questionable driving, you could say, from people such as H and Zan. But we'll have to see after the race. I'm not going to come into any conclusions now, as looks like Paco is actually losing the DRS to Seb now, as he's on the teetering edge. But coming through this turn, can he get the DRS back? It looks like he is within 1 second at the detection point as he turns on the DRS. Is Seb? It looks like Seb is actually struggling quite a bit for pace up against Chronic, and isn't really able to get close enough for a move, even with the power of the DRS. But it does look like Chronic is using quite a bit of his ERS. Seb on 50%, Chronic on almost less than 10%. Does his red light flash coming into turn 1? No, it doesn't. So Seb doesn't know that Chronic is low on the ERS, but I assume he's most likely guessing it at this stage of the race, where Chronic has been in the lead and pushing nice and hard to try and stay ahead of Seb, with Paco just trying to hold on. He really needs to finish ahead of Chronic in this race to give himself the best chance in the championship, because right now he is 8 points behind Chronic, and if Chronic wins this race, that's going to be another 8 points added on to his lead up against Paco. So Paco really needs a good race here, and he needs to be able to overtake Seb and Chronic, but there's only so many laps left. We're on lap 22 of 25, and Paco is on the hard compound tires. It does not look like the hards have gotten better than the mediums yet, so it looks like this hard compound strategy might not work out as well as he thought it would. He definitely didn't think the mediums could make it to the end of the race, so he decided to use the hard tires, but it clearly hasn't worked out for him, and it looks like the way things are going that he's going to lose out points to Chronic once again. So he's going to need a really good British and Abu Dhabi Grand Prix if he wants to take the championship, but he could go to the very last round. It looks like Seb is going to be looking for a move around the outside into turn 1. Can he make the move on Chronic as they go side by side here, as it looks like Seb gets another 3-second time penalty for extending the track limit? Seb and Chronic still going side by side as we watch from Paco's point of view, and it looks like Chronic just about leaving the space on the inside line there for Seb, but Seb is now up to 9 seconds of time penalties, and this is the complete opposite of what it was in the last round. Seb had 0 penalties, with Chronic and Paco both having 3 seconds, but now it looks like Seb has got all the penalties, 9 seconds, with Paco and Chronic having 0. So Chronic and Paco definitely in the best position in this race. It looks like Cyborg is actually getting quite close to the back of Zan, who still hasn't boxed for a new front wing. So he's been going around with this understeer for so long now, and it looks like Cyborg is almost pushing him through the corners. So is Cyborg going to be looking for a move? It looks like Cyborg tries to go down the inside, so Zan switched to the outside, but then Cyborg switched to the outside at the same time. It looks like Cyborg is really struggling behind Zan here, and has he got wing damage from making that little bit of contact with Zan? We'll have to see as he comes through this corner. It looks like he has got both of his end plates, but it looks like this is giving the opportunity for T FIFA to now catch up to these drivers, and he's on fresh soft tires, so he's going to have a lot more pace than these guys, but he's going to need to be patient and make the move at the right time. It looks like Cyborg had a look down the inside into that turn, but he's not going to be able to make that move. It actually looks like Chronic overtakes Seb coming into turn 1 there, and Chronic takes the lead of the Grand Prix. So Chronic now up into P1 with Seb in P2, and yeah, Seb with that penalty is really hurting him in this race, but it looks like Paco has now got the gap down to 4:10, so he's definitely going to have a better chance of overtaking in this race. But it actually looks like we're going 3 wide into turn 1. Zan managed to get the DRS on Cyborg, but T FIFA tries to go down the inside of Zan into turn 1. It looks like he's going to make the move stick with the power of the soft compound tires, but it looks like Cyborg has spun himself, I think, at turn 2, and has completely lost his front wing, and it looks like he is going to be finishing his race in P10 in this race, since YT Diadom has DNF from the session. So he's going to be coming home with 1 point, so long as he can just get back to the pit lane, fix his wing, and then survive one more lap. But it looks like Seb has gotten so many penalties this race. As we go to the penalties here, he's got 12 seconds of time penalties. If he gets 3 more seconds, he'll be behind Samuel Beach. And it looks like he's actually let Paco go there on the straight, so that Paco can possibly catch up and to Chronic and pull Seb along here. But Seb has realised that he's completely out of contention for a podium in this race. He's just going to stay behind Paco. There's just 1 lap left in this race. Paco sets a purple third sector. Is this a sign of things to come? We'll have to see. Like I was saying before, he really needs to overtake Chronic here to get the best result possible for the championship. He's 5 tenths behind. He's going to have 3 more DRS zones before the race is over. So he's only got so many chances, so he's got to use his chances as much as he can. So in P2, it looks like he's lost quite a bit of time. He's going to have DRS here. He's going to be able to get back a little bit of time, but not too much time. So he really needs to do some pushing here in the middle sector. So let's see how much of a gap he can close down. The dirty air is definitely going to affect him a little bit. He's now 6 tenths behind, 5 tenths behind. The gap is around 6 tenths. And is he pushing hard enough in this middle sector with the hard compound tires? It looks like he's saved up all of his ERS for this lap. He's got 40% and completely abusing the overtake button. Chronic is only on 10%. So could Paco make this overtake on the last lap of the Grand Prix? But it looks like he's pushed too hard and he's thrown away this race win with a 3-second time penalty. He makes an easy overtake on Chronic coming into the last turn, but that 3-second time penalty has cost him the race. Chronic dives down the inside into the last turn. Looks like Paco actually hits the wall there, but it's all a futile effort because it looks like Paco is going to finish first on track, but second in the race with that 3-second time penalty. Just pushed a bit too hard there in the last sector, and he would have won that race. He would have won that race if he had just played it a little safer in that third sector. As you can see, he finished 2.9 seconds behind and 1/10 ahead on track. So Paco really needed that win, and he had the perfect opportunity, but he's thrown it away because of that penalty. So that is a shame to see. Chronic is going to win the Grand Prix though and extend his lead in the championship battle. His lead is now going to be up to, we'll have to see here, has he got the fastest lap? No, he is not. His lead is going to be up to 15 points over Paco now, and a lot more over Litchi Siggins since he couldn't score any points. So Chronic is looking absolutely amazing in this championship battle, and could take the very first title of ERA Season 1 Drivers' Championship, World Champion. So Paco really needs to put it back. He needs to win the next two races and some up against Chronic to win this championship. But Seb finishes on the podium once again in his second race in ERA after winning his first race in ERA. But his teammate Samuel Beach finishing P4, but I don't know if that is good enough to maintain himself in the championship battle. He is going to get 12 points from that P4, which is going to put him quite a bit behind Chronic. We'll have to see here as I check the standings. P4 gives him 12 points, so he will be up to 100 and... Let me do my maths here. 101 points, whereas Chronic is going to be on 138. So I think unless Chronic DNFs in one of these races, and so does Paco, I think Samuel Beach and Litchi Siggins are now out of this championship battle. But that is going to be another amazing Electric Racing Arena Grand Prix. Electric M becomes home in P5 in his second race. I'm sure he'll be happy with that result. T FIFA with P6 and the fastest lap. Dire Dom DNFing from the session. H in P7, which is definitely pretty decent. Zan sadly coming home in P8 in his first race. Vugax in P9 and Cyborg rounding out the grid in P10. But that was another great race, and this league keeps on delivering with amazing races. So I hope you all did enjoy this round 9 of ERA Season 1 Jeddah, and I'll hope to see you all next week at the very same time, 8 o'clock British time, or BST, and on a Tuesday, and I'll see all of you guys next week. Goodbye.